The tiny house is going to really start transforming now because the stud walls are going up. The focus for today is to install all of the studs that go between the ceiling plate and the floor plate that I installed yesterday. Now, the key things you've got to remember is to make sure that the ceiling plate and the floor plate are in line. And there's various different ways you can achieve this, but honestly, the easiest is just using a laser, and I cannot stress to you enough, just buy one. It makes your life effortless. I'll put a link in the description to the exact one that I have used for years. It is, in my opinion, the cheapest but best quality one you can get, and it just saves you so much time because you can just send a line along the double joist up to the ceiling, and now you know exactly where to put the ceiling plate. As you would have seen in the previous video, I went up and drew a line where the laser is, and therefore if I accidentally move the laser, I still know where the ceiling plate should go. When it comes to adding the studs between the ceiling plates, there's really only two things you have to be bearing in mind. One is that they're at 40 centimeters centers. If you don't know what that means, you just get a tape measure from the left hand side of a piece of 4x2 to then the next left side of another piece of 4x2. That distance is exactly 40 centimeters. The other thing that you've got to always be thinking is, where is the door going? And that is a little bit undecided. As well, I'm 90% sure that I'm going to do a normal opening door, and therefore when you build the stud wall, you've got to then remember when you're installing a door, it is not just the door size, but it is also the door lining. You've got to add that to each side, and that will give you the measurement for the door opening. As I've said a million times, there's a lot of work on houses that is extremely boring, and you will start questioning why you bothered doing this in the first place. But when it gets to this stage where you're installing stud walls, this is honestly my favorite part, because it is starting to become a house. You can see the vision that you've had in your head for ages, and it's actually coming to life, and you get a great sense of achievement, because to just get it to this stage, there's a lot of challenges. There's been a lot of evenings and mornings where I haven't wanted to turn up to site at all, but now looking back, I am so glad that I did. And that is a key thing that I will always keep repeating, is you've always got to be thinking, is my future self going to be happy with the decisions that I'm making right now? If you are new to the channel, you might not be aware, but this bathroom is a bit weird in quite a lot of different ways. It's the first time I've ever lowered the floor joist in the bathroom entirely. Now, obviously, you've probably heard me say a million times that I'm lowering the bath, but the actual floor area within the bathroom, as in the floor joists, I've put them as being a little bit lower to the rest of the tiny house, because when it comes to building, you can always pack out a floor, but it's extremely hard to take it away. And because this bathroom is going to be extremely difficult, I'm going to be attempting things that I've never done on a project before. I thought it would be quite good to give myself a bit of a buffer, which might potentially save me one day in the future. Because as I said, it's super easy to just add batten onto every single floor joist. But if I went with a certain size tile that didn't match with the rest of the tiny house, that height difference would be really hard to disappear. To explain that a little bit better, when it comes to the rest of the tiny house, there is going to be the plywood insulation and tongue and groove chipwood flooring. And then on top of that, let's just say I go for some sort of herringbone flooring. Well, that's going to create a certain floor height. And this is where some people, there is a chance in your house right now, you have this. When you walk into the bathroom, you might have a step up or a step down. And in some cases, it's actually really bad. And if you do have that, it means either there was a situation that couldn't be avoided, or your builder did not think through at all the different height levels. And I've seen examples of this where you're like, oh my days, that looks so bad. You're basically stepping up to get into a bathroom. So that is a top tip. Just always think about detail of your floor. Another thing that's worth bearing in mind is when you're setting a floor height, pick the largest surface area as your benchmark. I don't know if benchmark's the right word, but that is going to become your finished floor level. Because if I were to be matching the rest of the tiny house with the floor level in the bathroom, well, there's a lot of floor joists, and therefore that's going to be a lot of pieces of timber to then raise that whole floor area, and that's going to cost you twice in time and in money. So therefore, just set the largest floor area as your final floor height, and then make changes to the smallest floor areas. Now, as you can see, a stud wall is basically doing the same thing over and over again. If the floor and ceiling plate are in accurately, you basically are just lining it up with that, and it's a fairly straightforward process. I do always use a level just to make sure that it's all plumb and perfect, as you can create some bad situations. I want to put a stud wall in, and the plasterer that I employed was like, Chris, come and have a look at this. And he put a plasterboard sheet up on the wall. And I honestly, to this day, don't know how I messed it up so badly. So just spend a little bit of extra time and just triple check everything. Because if you don't check things, you're going to mess up like 80% of the time. And if you triple check it and make sure you're doing it right, I will still mess up 50% of the time, but that's better than 80% of the time. I just want to say thanks for all of the support recently, all the likes, subscribes, it's been amazing, and I'm really enjoying making these videos. And I know the last few have been uploaded really late, but that is the only time that I've been able to drive to Sainsbury's and go and upload these videos at the 5G tower. I've now daily uploaded for 17 or 18 days. Initially, I was like, there's no way I'm going to be able to do this. And on the second day, I kind of felt like giving up. But now, to be 17 days into it, there is no way that I'm not going to be able to do this every single day of December. And remember, I have no choice. I have to move in here on the 1st of January. So as much as I am quite good at dealing with stress nowadays, I am starting to get stressed because, as you can see, I don't have a toilet, a sink. I do have water, I do have electricity, and I do have a somewhat watertight house. It definitely is looking a lot better now than when I didn't have windows in it. And yeah, even though I've just said that, there is always this little part of my brain going, just give up, you're not going to be able to move in by the new year, and go find somewhere to rent. But no, I'm not giving myself a way out. I have to move in here. So I'm just going to have to level up and make some more time sacrifices and get up even earlier, which I don't like getting up early at all, but it's a challenge and I enjoy challenges. Also, at the time of you watching this, newsletter number 5 is out, and I have perfectly explained to you one of the side hustles that got me out of my day job. Meaning this isn't some get rich quick thing. I did this and now I'm sharing it with you, and you can do this whilst being sat at your desk at your day job. Just Google Have Some Vision Substack or click the link in the description. Sign up now, you will not regret it. Trust me, just do it. So thanks for watching, like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you're new, and I will see you tomorrow in a bit.